Jamie Genti Show, broadcasting live each week on Tuesday at 12 p.m. from Fishbowl Studios. Log on to hear sports talk from basketball to football and view your feedback on the biggest sports news you want to talk about from around the world. So be sure to log on each week Tuesdays at 12 p.m. to catch the Jamie Genti Show. Hope to see you soon
on Fishbowl Radio Network.
Jump in.
Welcome to the Beyond the Game podcast on Fishbowl Radio. My name is Jamie. It's Friday, December 12th. 2025. How's everyone doing out there? That's good. All right, so before we get to the Cowboys stuff, I know the Cowboys have a game this weekend, and then we're going to recap the Cowboys and Lions game. Let's give a shout out to the Southern University basketball team. This is the women's basketball team. They beat both Houston and Arizona the other day. Arizona was undefeated. Houston was not. That's a big upset because we don't see usually HBCU schools doing well in this space. So we usually don't celebrate them as much. But this is great. This is great because now Southern has put their name on the map, and I'm hoping great things from them later on. So we wish them nothing but the best. Well, let's move on. Let's go to the Cowboys versus the Lions last week, and then we'll get to the Sherrone Moore and then the college football stuff and in the college football segment because there's a lot going on in the past 2 days. Excuse me, due to the situation with Sherrone Moore. But first, let's talk about the Cowboys. So the Cowboys played a game December the 4th last week, and we got blown out. Not necessarily the outcome you wanted to get, but you wanted the outcome to be better because the Cowboys are fighting for their playoff lives, and you want to make sure that you take care of business. So let's talk about the quarterback, Dak Prescott. He went 31 for 47 for 376 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. Like I said, when he throws over 40 passes, he plays awful. That's what he did. And he got sacked 5 times, and he looked disinterested. So basically, it's just the game that Dak does again. It's just one of those games where Detroit was in his face all game long, and he couldn't get out of it. And so to me, I would like to see Dak play a little bit better. I would like to see him be more controlling the pocket, more controlling the wide receivers. But then again, he didn't get help from his wide receiver core. One of them was out. CeeDee Lamb was out with concussion in the third quarter. Then George Pickens decided not to play. Yeah, Jake Ferguson kept fumbling the ball. So to me, and then the offensive line couldn't block. So it was tough. It was tough for Dak to get out of the pocket. It was tough for him to make the throws. Shoddy, I understand being aggressive, but this game was over aggressive. I thought we could have ran the ball a little bit more in this game, but I don't know, for some odd reason we get out of the run we start throwing 47 passes, and it really is not going to get that done. We'll see. And then you get to Jared Goff, 25 for 34 for 309 yards and a touchdown. He mentioned something in that post-game show. He said if the Lions go to the Super Bowl, he will take off. If they win the Super Bowl, he'll take off his shirt. But really, you make Jared Goff look good this game. You make him an all-star, and really, he's not really an all-star. Really, when I think of Jared Goff, I think of a guy just making it. Because he's just one of those quarterbacks that I don't see him as a Hall of Famer player. I don't see him. I'm not fear of him. I don't, who in the scouting report is going to fear of Jared Goff? I mean, even though he can play well, I don't fear Jared Goff. I just think he's a middle-of-the-pack quarterback. But he does get the job done. When his name is called upon, he does get the job done. Number 2, Pickens being immature. Now, George Pickens had 5 receptions for 37 yards. Richard Sherman said things after the game last week. And even though I agree with what Richard Sherman said, George Pickens did not. So George Pickens, again, these young guys go on the internet and they speak their piece, and George is like, I can't read off what he mentioned on his IG. I can't do that because it's just not fair to him or the Dallas Cowboys. I just think it was stupid. To me, I just think it was stupid and immature. I mean, they're paid to analyze the game. Richard Sherman said what he said. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to come back with a response. That's what these young cats do. Every time they get criticized in the media from a former player, they go to the internet to criticize. So it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense that he goes online and calls out a Hall of Famer cornerback, potentially, even though it's his own right to critique the game because he's a former player. He wants the best for you, but yet he's calling you out. Take this as a call out and perform better. You don't have to perform for him. We're trying to fight for a playoff spot. We don't care about what Richard Sherman says. You shouldn't care. The audience will. But if you listen to that, let it motivate you to be better. But you know, his game was off the other day. And Shawty was saying, "Oh, he played well." I'm like, Shawty, did you not see him run just not run a route? Did you not see him half-ass a route? Did you not see that? Where you're not watching the game, where you're not watching the film, he didn't play well. 5 for 37, that's not a great game. On 9 targets, that's not great. And then when Dak's telling you to go down the field after dropping the ball on a curl route, that tells me he looked uninterested and he was very immature in that game. So he's got to play better. He's got to stop the foolishness. He's got to stop, responding to social media. He's got to stop responding to Richard Sherman. He's got to play a little bit better and stop trying to initiate the drama, because that's over. We want to move on from this game. This game, this game could have been a win. We scored 30 points to win the game, but we didn't. Well, our defense wasn't there, and George Pickens wasn't there either. So I expect a good game for George Pickens this coming Sunday. And then you got number 3, the offensive line struggled, and the defense struggled. They allow 5 sacks. So basically, hopefully they're getting the ass to shoot right now because Dak was on the ground majority of the night. Offensively, you gave up 44 points. The special team was bad. It was really, really bad. Special teams, for one thing, is two people shouldn't have 100+ yards on special teams. That's what these 2 guys did on the Detroit Lions. That's when you know it's going to be a bad night, because the special teams couldn't get right. And then, Kevontae Turpin being gippy as he is, because he's thinking that, okay, I'm going to return this for a touchdown, but yeah, I didn't call fair catch. Like, Kevontae, I need for you to stop doing this. Stop playing this game of like, okay, I'm going to try to return this for a touchdown. I need for you to stay locked in. I need for you to stay focused. Right now, your focus is not there. Your focus is not where it should be, because you're focusing on trying to catch a football and then initially the return for a touchdown. It doesn't make sense. So I need a better effort from the defense. We need our effort. We need our defense to come through. Poor tackling, poor scheme. It looked like everybody was half-assing out there. It looked like it. So I'm not a fan of half-assing players. I'm not a fan of our defense giving up 44 points. And then our offensive line was horrible. So we got to fix those things for the game on Sunday night. Not sure why that game's on Sunday night, but anyways. Number 4, Ryan Fanola's big night. 9 receptions for 115 yards and a touchdown. As of now, I haven't seen CeeDee Lamb on the injury report. I have not seen it. But I'm anticipating he's playing. But then again, when CD got hit like that and he's holding, again, I'm not a doctor. I see what I saw on the field on Thursday, and I'm like, okay, is he going to play? I haven't seen any report yet. But it's like when stuff like that, when you're holding your hand like that, I'm assuming a doctor would tell you not to play, despite the limited the time off. And so to me, so again, if he does play, okay, great. But if he doesn't, that's good as well, because we need him to be fully healthy. Right now, as we speak, he hasn't appeared on any injury report. So we'll see what happens with that. And then Ryan Fanola became an all-star this game. 9 receptions for 115 yards and a touchdown. I didn't have high hopes for this kid moving forward. I thought, this kid would be a strict practice player all year. But when he came in for CeeDee Lamb, he just excelled. And so I'm looking forward to giving Ryan Fanolo a chance. I'm looking forward to seeing him shine, because 9 times out of 10, we need everybody. We need everybody at this point in time to come through. So we'll see how this game goes. But speaking of this game, the Cowboys 30, the Lions 44. As of right now, the Cowboys have a 9% chance to make the postseason. Let's talk about the postseason for a second, then we'll get to the games. Now, I'm looking at the standings right now. Tampa Bay screwed themselves last night, but they're fighting for the NFC South. Carolina Panthers are in first place right now. The Dallas Cowboys sit at number 10. So the Chicago Bears have the last playoff spot. Do you realize that if the NFL decided to change the playoff seeding again, do you realize that it would be like the NBA or the NHL? Because it would be, well, then again, the NBA added playing games. But they'll do the old the old NBA, what's it called? The old NBA seeding system, where when you got the first seed, you played the 8th seed. The second played the 7th, third for 6th, 4th, and 5. So they have that seeding, but it's like in the NFL, you don't have that. There's only 7 spots. So you're telling me that somebody with a winning record will not make the playoffs? That could be the Cowboys. Now, as I said, the Cowboys sit at 10. I'm not going to complain about the playoff system. I told y'all last week, and I told y'all the previous week, that, listen, if the Cowboys make the playoffs, that's fine. But don't come out and tell me, or I want to hear, oh, we got something brewing here. No, we missed the playoffs. What do we have brewing there? Like, that's what we said last year. We didn't make the playoffs. Now we're going to say it for this year and for the future. Because a coach can get removed after the first season. I'm not saying Charlotte will get removed after the first season, but when you say that crap, the team will regress. So I'm not believing in what fans will say, oh, we got something brewing here. What do we have brewing here? We got to make the playoffs. Because if we don't make the playoffs, everything's a failure. So I look at it now. We're a game behind Tampa Bay. We're 2 games behind the Detroit Lions, and we're actually 3 games behind the Chicago Bears. So all those teams, if the Chicago Bears decide to lose their next 3 games, or the 4 games for that matter, and Detroit, we're not. Listen, we gotta win our next 4 to get the last playoff spot. I don't think we're going to do that. I think Chicago will win at least 1 or 2 more games. Excuse me. I think San Francisco. I think those teams are locked in. I think San Francisco and Chicago is locked into the postseason. I also think that we're fighting with the Eagles for the NFC East title. So you realize that the Eagles lost another game on Monday night against the Chargers. They're calling for Jalen Hurts' head. They're calling for Jalen Hurts to be replaced. And I'm like, wow, guys. Let's chill out here. This is your Super Bowl MVP quarterback. Let's calm down here. For the Cowboys' sake, we got to win. We got to win our division. The Eagles play the Raiders this weekend. The Cowboys play the Vikings. Now, the Vikings, as of right now, could be eliminated. If the Cowboys beat the Vikings could be eliminated from playoff contention. Or maybe, if they win, who knows? There might be a chance. But I know if we lose, I don't think we're making the playoffs. And I'm going to settle with, okay, guys, go ahead and talk about the draft. Go ahead and tell us what we need and what we can upgrade, because it'll be a failure if we don't make the playoffs. And I'll blame it on the defense early on. So I'm not going to say that right now. I still think we'll make the playoffs. But I want us to take care of business. This is 2 home games that you have against the Vikings and the Chargers. Focus on the Vikings first. They're going to be a team where it's up and down season long. I don't see anything good about the Vikings. But then again, you can't give them anything to celebrate on. You cannot give this team a chance to win. I don't want them to I don't want this team to have a chance. I want the Cowboys to take care of business. I know 9% is a number that's not really good, and I'm not sure why. This game's a Sunday night game. I will love to move it up and have one of the bigger games on a Sunday night. But then again, this is kind of a bigger game because you're fighting for a playoff spot. So we'll see what happens. But I'm interested to see what the Raiders are going to do against the Eagles because, again, we need every help we can get. The Cowboys could be 1 game behind, or we can be 2 games behind, or maybe 3 behind. We'll see. And then you got the Chargers. Again, the Chargers are going to be the Chargers. I'm going to worry about the Vikings. And then you got the 2 Commanders and the Giants. And so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But this game, we were outmanned and and physically challenged. We got to play physical moving forward. I don't want to talk about the draft moving forward because I don't know what we need on this team. You can easily say quarterback. You can easily say linebacker. You can say cornerback. You can say safety. You can say a lot of things in the draft. But I want to see what these bowl games are going to do, so that if somebody is playing in the bowl games, I want to see what they're going to do in that bowl game to help their team win. And then that way, I want the Cowboys to go after that player and not settle. So, but right now, let's try to focus on the Vikings. We beat the Vikings. It's another game up. We have the Raiders beat the Eagles. Anything is possible, right? The Raiders just need 1 victory to be confident. So, I want this game to be Javonte Williams' game. I want this game to be a George Pickens bounce-back game. I want this game to be the offensive line has to protect. I think Minnesota, I think they're top 20 defensively. So, and then I don't want J.J. McCarthy, whoever their quarterback is, to beat us. I don't want that at all. I just want to go up there and take care of business. All right, guys. Coming up on Tuesday, we're going to talk about the Cowboys. We're going to recap the Cowboys versus the Vikings game. But for now, let's talk about some college football. And this is just to recap the championship games and have my message to talk about the college football playoffs and Sherrone Moore's stuff. So we start with number 1. Tulane wins the AAC. Now, as of last week, Tulane beat the Mean Green 34-21. They win the AAC championship. Here is the pros and the cons. Drew Musselmaker for the UNT, 21 for 34 for 294 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Miles Coleman with 7 receptions for 125 yards and a touchdown. Cameron Donner, 6 receptions for 76 yards. They played well early. They got to the championship game against all the odds. So, I'm happy that North Texas was able to shine in that championship game. But then again, a loss is a loss. Now, here comes the negative, and here comes my yelling. We turned the ball over 5 times. That's the whole game. Our quarterback, Musselmaker, threw 3 interceptions. Caleb Hawkins had a fumble, and then somebody else had a fumble as well. I don't think we were focused that game. Caleb Hawkins took a huge hit in the first half. He was no longer available. They went with Ashton Jackson, whatever his name is, and he did some things. 5 turnovers will make you lose the game. We had those 5 turnovers against South Florida. We lost the game. Jake Werzikoff, that Predator, I said that Predator, right? Yeah, at BYU, 13 for 22 for 145 yards, 15 carries for 49 yards and 2 touchdowns. He dominated the UNT. This is the former BYU quarterback. And then we got exposed early. We were held to 21 points despite averaging 34 points a game. Again, our defense didn't show up. Our offense didn't show up. We didn't show up. We didn't show up to play this game. And I'm not going to blame the distractions on Eric Morris going to Oklahoma State. I'm going to blame it on the lack of focus during the week of being overhyped to get to the championship game and to lay an egg and score 21 points against a team that they had their own issues of their coach going to Florida, and he's allowed to coach in their bowl game against Ole Miss. Do you know how stupid North Texas has been now allowing Eric Morris to coach the bowl game, not allowing him to finish it? He started this in 2022. Let him finish it. As a matter of fact, he should never get the Oklahoma State job. The damn guy has a 500 record. You're telling me he's not allowed to finish it? He lost. The team didn't show up. Let him finish it. I don't care what Oklahoma State has out there. Let him finish the job. It's not the best bowl game that we're going to or the college football playoff. Let him finish the job because he deserves it. I'm going to blame the refs this game. Everybody, it's easy to blame the stripes. It's easy to blame the players, which I'm blaming everybody. I'm not blaming the refs. There's a few calls that we could have had back, but I'm not blaming them. Listen, we lost by 13 points. We were exposed. We scored 21 points after averaging 34 points in the regular season. We blew everybody out by 30-plus points. And you're telling me that you get to the championship game, you lose handily. Looks the eyes of it, I think we're going to rebuild the football program. All the things that are going on right now at the campus. You're building a new facility, athletic facility again. There's more stuff building out there. So now the NIL money will show up playoff, which they deserve. And now Tech could win the whole thing. High power offense, defense has been phenomenal. They could win the whole thing. He did this. His team got to the championship game. Instead of just trying to run the ball, you decided to throw a flea flicker, and you decided to throw a trick play, and then it costs you. So how was it that you can't run the ball in overtime? You got there. Even though you were up by 10, you got there.
Any thought to that going on here in Vanderbilt today?
No. I mean, I can't speak to their process, but we love playing football here. And to realize that we get a chance to close out a special season with a special group of players on a great bowl stage in a great city against a really, really tough opponent. I mean, as a football fan, as a football coach, as a football person, it's hard not to get excited about that. So there was no way that we were going to end this story early, and I'm so excited to be taking this team down to Tampa, and I got a chance to spend, I think, like 23 days or so with them. You know, we're going to soak up every one of those days, so looking forward to that.
12 teams that were mentioned on Sunday. I like it today. I loved it on Sunday, and I like it today as we speak on Friday. You beat 3 top 25 teams. Okay, great. But the losses came with Florida and Georgia. More Florida than Georgia. The losses, but however, you gave up 38 points to Mississippi State and 37 points to Arkansas. 2 teams that, on average, won 6 games this year. Well, 7. Nowhere near they should be close to y'all. And then you're telling me that you deserve a spot in the college football playoff. You got robbed. You did not get robbed. You did not take care of business. That's the thing. And then you got Steve Sarkisian telling you asking the college football playoff committee, hey, what are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to schedule? You're asking them to schedule you at a great opponent for you to dominate. What happens is vice versa, Steve? What happens if a cupcake team comes into your house and beats you? Then what's the committee? What are you going to say then? You're going to come back and have the same conversation and say, we deserve in the college football playoff. We beat 3 SEC teams, all that stuff. You're going to continue to make those excuses? Or are we going to be man enough to schedule the right opponents, to take care of business when the game is on the line? You had an obligation. You did not follow the obligation. You lost. You lost 3 games. Nowhere near in the history of college football playoff. No one has made it in those 3 games. If Alabama lost 3 games, then Alabama will be saying the same damn thing about Alabama as well. You beat Oklahoma. How is it that Oklahoma is able to go the rest of the way winning? The last time they lost was against you guys. But yet, you want to be there. You deserve to be there. You don't deserve to play in the bowl game. You deserve to be there. Because you beat 3 top 25 teams. It doesn't really matter. All those other teams deserve to be there. Georgia deserves it. Texas A&M, you beat them. But yet, Texas A&M took care of business against the other opponents. So A&M deserves to be there. I'm not an A&M fan. They deserve to be there. But it just doesn't make sense what type of changes y'all think the committee should make. Because the committee has done everything they can to make those changes. It was 4 the first year. Then you move it to 8. Now it's 12. Now people say 16. Now people say 20. Heck, someone said 24. I'm like, dude, do you realize that you're going to extend the season longer than it should be? You realize that players on the team are going to be transferring, and then they're going to play in the spring game in about 3 months from now. Some won't have a spring game. Others will. The problem is we did not know Texas till they first stepped on the field against Ohio State. That's probably the reason why Arch Manning struggled first half of the season. The second half, he picked it up. But Arch struggled. Those extra reps is needed. But then again, everybody is different in their program of how they coach their kids. Notre Dame, they don't deserve to be there. Get a conference in football, yes, we can say, oh yeah, Notre Dame deserves to be in the college football playoff. But all this, okay, we're going to skip the bowl game in its entirety, that is weakness to me. That's weak. That's weak. You're not showing the players the appreciation. I'm pretty sure it was 50-50 split of not playing in the bowl game. But you deserve all the respect of not playing in the postseason because you didn't get your way. Those 2 spots were left for conference championships in the Group 5. Tulane and James Madison should deserve to be there. It makes sense because they took care of business in the regular season. They won their championship game. They deserve to be there. But yet, it's like, we want changes. We want changes. We want the community to tell us this. We want the community to tell us that. We want to change the whole process again to make Texas happy, to make Notre Dame happy, to have their players not quit, because that's what it is. They're going to quit. You know, transferring to another school is quitting on your team. That's what it comes down to. You're quitting on your brothers. And don't come out and tell me, or I see a statement that says, "Oh, I'm entering the transfer portal. I'm going to be forever Longhorn." Why? That doesn't make any sense. If you're going to be on the, if you're going to transfer to my team, for example, North Texas, right? I don't expect you to bring that Longhorn nonsense to North Texas. You're North Texas now. You focus on all program and all program only. This is the problem with college football. Players quit when they don't get their way. That's petty. Notre Dame, their AD made that decision. Their coach did not make that decision. AD made that decision. Vandy, I like their professional approach because they love football. Diego will probably get more NFL offers right now by just playing the postseason, and you get more money. Money does not land on your lap. They're thinking the money lands on your lap. It doesn't really land on your lap. You got to work for it. Everybody's a full participant in the bowl game. You transfer after, or whatever you do afterwards, after whatever livelihood is, that's up to you. But I don't want to hear, let's change it. Give us an explanation of what should we do. That's what Sark said. Vandy, hey, that's a professional approach. Notre Dame shouldn't be complaining about their team balling out. Dude, you could have just said, you could have just played in a bowl game, be invited to a bowl game, play in it, and then move on. But instead, this is all the AD's decision because you did not make the postseason. You weren't honest with yourself. You didn't do it for the players. You did it for you and you only. So the players don't get exposure. We don't know who they are now. We don't know who Jeremiah Love is. We don't even know. Marcus Freeman will get NFL jobs. And soon now, he will go for the NFL in a year or two. I said 5 years last year. I'm going to say a year or two from now, somebody's going to make him a great offer because we don't have loyalty in college football. Everybody's complaining about something. I don't want the community to tell us anything. I want the community to keep it as it is. 12 teams, great. Take care of business, great. 2 teams that are trying to fight to get the last 2 playoff spots, keep it like that. Keep it like that because it makes sense. 12 teams makes sense. You got to work. You got to take care of business early. Texas, schedule better opponents. This is why they're going to the 9-game SEC schedule so that you don't see the scores of 50-0 against UTEP or 45-7 against James Madison. Whatever the team they can beat. And then you don't see their players ball out. You don't see Anthony Hill, who missed the last 2 games, to go to the NFL draft. Yeah, he's great. He's going to be great in the NFL, but he bailed out on his team. You don't see C.J. Baxter in the transfer board because he didn't get the amount of carries. C.J., you were hurt all year. Like, dude, man up. Finish your season song with your brothers. That's not brotherhood, y'all. This is not brotherhood. You're transferring from the best university in American history. That's what you're missing. I don't want college football to change. or else we go to the BCS. The BCS back in the day, 20 years ago, had 2 teams. Top 2 teams, everybody played a bowl game. So the top 2 teams would have been Georgia and Texas A&M, or Georgia and Ohio State. They probably would have been playing for the championship for the championship right now if the BCS came back 20 years ago. We're not going to do that. Keep 12 teams, 12 teams. Now let's get to Sherrone Moore. This breaks my heart. Sherrone Moore, he got the job. He got the job. He got the Michigan job against all odds, and I was cheering for him. I love our black brothers getting Power 5 jobs because there's not enough of that in the game today. We don't see that. When you get the job, you have to own the job. Sherrone Moore, for the longest time, did not own this job, and now he's out of a job. You notice that guys who did this situation, guys like Shannon Sharp this year, guys like Emmanuel Ocho this year, there's a bunch of other black men that done this. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed that we have to go through this. I'm ashamed that Sherrone put himself in this situation. Nobody else told you to go have sex with that was a staffer. No one else told you that. You did it on your own, and half of the world wants to sympathize with you, but the other one does not. Shannon made a choice was the OnlyFans model. Emmanuel Ocho made a choice was Joy Taylor. I don't know how that I'm going to use allege because we still don't know what happened, and he will never tell us what happened because we know it's true. And so we don't need men speaking on that because you did the same thing over there. But Moore is crazy. It's crazy because he's now being charged with stalking, breaking and entering, and all of them are misdemeanors. It's not because his relationship with a staff member. It's because he broke and entered her home, and now it's disappointing watching the video, seeing him wear a white jumpsuit, while hearing the charges read. It's crazy. But then again, he might get out. He might get out. He's not going to jail forever, I don't think. I'm not a lawyer or anything. I'm not saying what he's going to do. But I do think that the brother needs help. But as far as that goes, he made the decision on his own. This is why I'm going to keep it college football related. Because this man had a job. This man was going to lead Michigan to his ball game. Like 2 weeks ago, you beat Ohio State. Okay? No, excuse me. You lost Ohio State. Now we get to this, and now he's being fired. And now he's fired. He has no job. His wife might leave him. But then again, it's like, okay, if you see we'll see what happens. It's kind of weird that his wife, not his wife. It's kind of weird that this staffer still has a job. The whole thing is a mess in Michigan. It started with Jim Harbaugh, and then it was assistant, and then Jim goes to the NFL, and then Jim says, "Hey, I want to come back to college." If he were to come back to college, then he will have to face penalties there. He's not coming back to college. If Sherrone Moore ended this, so if I'm Michigan, I clean house. This is your program. Your program could be failing. Now you're scrambling around to interview. You added Alabama's head coach. You added Arizona State's head coach. Both of those guys may not be interested. So now you have to go to the NFL route and pray that you get the right man for the job. But Sherrone Moore put us in the bad space. Because you look at all the black men that have Power 5 jobs. That was all tough work and grit. We will never see like this again. Staffers come and go all the time. They always tell you keep your hands to yourself. They always say, keep it professional. They always say that. Sherrone, unfortunately, did not keep this professional. Sherrone wanted to pressure, do this more and more again, and then all of a sudden, you decide to do what you did. This is all Sherrone Moore's fault. This is his fault and his fault only. He don't care about anything but himself. This is all him. He needs to own up to the consequences of his actions. Because 9 times out of 10, I won't say he will never get a paralyzed. I won't say that, but I will also say that if, let's say, a random college, a random junior college comes in, let's say an overseas pro league comes in, right? In the next 2 to 3 years, whatever the years may be. Sherrone Moore will be, 41, 42, still a young man. He might have to go out there and regain himself. He has to regain himself. Because to me, these jobs don't come easy for anyone, especially of our magnitude. We got to claw, we got to open doors, we got to bust down doors to make us hear us, to make them hear us. Do you know how hard that is? That's hard. You made the process even harder now. Now we don't even know if we're going to take you seriously. So this is all him. It's his fault. No one else's. I don't want Shannon or anybody else to speak on this because he's in that same spate as well. I wish them well, but it's like, man, when is it going to stop? When are you going to keep your hands to yourself? When are we going to say that? When are we going to say, or when we're going to have rules that this cannot happen for both sides? This is not only blacks only. This is whites only. Because I remember Bobby Pacino doing this back in 2010, or I think it was a year before that. Whatever year it may be. I remember that year vividly, and I said, okay, college football will never fix this. This thing will keep on happening. The university has to start over again, and the recovery process will start. We're not talking about kids. We're not talking about kids with staffers. We're talking about coaches with staffers. And with the players that are saying, oh, I'm going to transfer because he's not my coach anymore, that's wrong. I saw Bryce Underwood, the quarterback from Michigan. Again, these young guys are like, he was my coach. I love him. He took down his Michigan stuff. And so it looks like he may transfer. But I don't know. It just depends who they bring in. And honestly, if you transfer because your coach is not there anymore, then I lose a little bit of respect for you. Because this is not supposed to be happening. You're supposed to be an example that says, hey, I want to be the next Bryce Underwood the next day. Or I want to be the next Michigan great. You're supposed to stay there and embrace it. And not embrace the challenge of them repairing the program. Now you got to repair the program from scratch. Do you know how tough that would be? This started with Jim Harbaugh, and then it trickles down. It trickles down to Sherrone Moore, and now Moore does not have a job anymore. And now Moore is facing more time. Tough to watch, but we'll see what happens. All right, guys, let's take a little bit of a break. Coming up next, let's talk about basketball. And basketball will be basketball. We got a record holder on the Mead Green side. And then I'm going to tell you why North Texas. I'm going to tell you why USA. Why Flajek went after Kara Lawson. We'll talk about that after this break. It's Beyond the Game on Official Radio. All right, so welcome back to the Beyond the Game podcast on Official Radio. Jamie here. So let's talk about some basketball stuff. The Mean Green, they beat Houston Christian 77-75. This was last Tuesday, but they lost to TCU 65-55 on this past Sunday. It was their last game before the finals break. Which the finals ended today. So we'll see more Mean Green basketball in the next few days coming up. But let's talk about what happened. So, huge props to Kurtima Crosby. He had 12 points for 4-4 3-point shooting against Houston Christian, all in the second half. They played collective defense. They played collectively on defense, even though Houston Christian scored 75 points. And then they closed the game with an exciting finish. I think I can't remember the guy's name that drove to the basket. But anyways, but they lost to TCU 65-55. I think they were physically outmanned. Once again, they were punched in the mouth. David Tyrell had 16 points. They lacked toughness, and then only 18 points in the second half. This is tough. This North Texas team is not physical enough. So this team lacks toughness. And so when you lack toughness, that's the result. North Texas lacked toughness this game against TCU. And so we got to change that. And I'm hoping that in practice this week, it's going to change. Because that game was awful. They lacked toughness. But now they got South Alabama on Sunday. They got Santa Clara. Both of the South Alabama and Santa Clara, they're both road games. Santa Clara's the one on Wednesday, and then they got the Science and Arts in Oklahoma. That's next Tuesday. That's next Sunday. Next Monday, excuse me. That's Monday, December 22nd. Again, it's going to be an easy win. They're 7-3 right now. I'm not anticipating, but then again, it's like, okay, what is this team good at? What is this team good at? The eyes that I've seen online, the eyes I'm seeing on the team, is that they're good at scoring. They're good at getting out in transition and scoring. However, when they're not physically punched in the mouth, which TCU did, they lack the toughness. They run away and hide. So, to me, you have to embrace the physicality. You have to embrace it. Because you're about to hit conference play. And when you hit conference play, we're going to make sure that you're ready to play every single possession. Number 2, the Mean Greens wins tough schedule. Their tough schedule continues. But they lost to Oklahoma State 73-55. This is before the finals break. However, the Mean Green beat Texas Southern 81-52. Now, let's talk about this historical achievement let's talk about the negative first. The negative was they were 1 for 50 from three-point range. They lacked ball movement. They were stagnant on offense. And then this was a good loss for North Texas, but they got so much to work on. And Jason Burton knows that. Texas Southern, Megan Nestor, 34 points, 31 rebounds, but she turned the ball over 8 times. But it's okay. No one's looking at the turnover by player. But she was American Player of the Week. Does Megan have WNBA on it? Now, Megan, this is her first double-double of the season, I'm assuming. Texas Southern was bad at rebounding this game. This is why we out-rebounded by 29 rebounds, or 31. It doesn't even matter. Or by 31 rebounds. We didn't lack toughness. We lacked toughness. No, we didn't lack toughness. We should give Megan props. Now, I saw the pages everybody's posting on there, and they rightfully so. Everybody should post, Megan Nestor's achievement. Have you seen this? Have you seen that? Pretty cool. But I'm the first one that saw it live. I saw it live on the internet. I saw all 31 rebounds on the internet. All 34 points on the internet. Watched the whole entire game. Been watching this team for years and never seen a player like that. Megan Nestor's not a household name. This woman did not play basketball to college. But I don't think she's the best college player ever. It's one game against a worthless opponent. It's one game against an opponent that lacked big girls. Megan Nestor should get all the accomplishments and achievements she needs, but yet this has to be a game changer for North Texas. I can easily say North Texas is not a good team. We know that. I know that. Does North Texas have a lot of work to do? Yes. Is it good work to do? Absolutely. But North Texas has to be that good team moving forward, because Megan Nestor showed you that she can do it all. Rebound, score, probably need the ball in her hands more than not. So, but as far as the WNBA goes, I think there's a future for her in the WNBA. I think there is. I said this for Tanisha Lampkin and Desiree Colonel. I did say it for both of those players, but it'll take time because the league is adding more teams, and then they want to add a free agent pool. And also, they want to add a combine too, which is stupid because I'm like, what combine are you going to add? But where are you going to place it at? Because the season starts in May, so you're going to place the combine after the season, after, let's say, an AZ Fudd played all the way to the national title game, and now 2 weeks later, she has to play at a combine to get noticed by WNBA teams that want her service. That's putting wear and tear on the body. But then again, players have NIL money. Then again, players have recovery stuff that they can go to. They have access to those stuff. But for Megan Nestor and others that are trying to get to the WNBA, if you post that on the WNBA side, that tells me that you envision her playing in the WNBA someday. Honestly, I hope it's true. I wish it's true. I wish that she plays in the WNBA after that one game. But we got to see more games of this. We're never going to see 30 and 30 again. We may see 30 and 20. We may see 20 and 20. Definitely going to see 10 and 10. That's for sure. She gets 10 and 10 every single night. North Texas wins the game, hands down. So by all means, we got to see the effort go up and up and up every single day. And then you get to number 3, TCU women's basketball. They beat Incarnate World. TCU beat Incarnate World 84-56. Excuse me. Let's track back for a second. North Texas plays after the finals week. North Texas plays at Illinois on Sunday, and then they got Oral Roberts next Thursday, and then they got Santa Clara next. I think that's next Sunday. So both Oral Roberts and Santa Clara are both home games. So we'll see what happens. But TCU beats Incarnate World 84-56. TCU beats UTEP at 95-40. They held IW to 34% shooting, and they put 40 minutes of solid basketball together. Change would need to be made if Martha Soros is going to be in the lineup, because Martha Soros picked up 2 fouls early. So we got to keep track on that moving forward. For UTEP, Olivia Miles had a triple-double, 15 points, 10 rebounds, and 11 assists. They forced 22 turnovers, and the ball movement was contagious. So the ball movement was moving all over the place thanks to Olivia Miles. Olivia Miles is increasing her draft stock every single day, to the point where she could be the first pick, maybe the second pick. The second pick in the draft, if everything goes well. Minnesota, I know they have the second pick. Minnesota will love to see either a small forward or a center. But then again, we got a lot of season to go. We got a lot of season to go, guys. Now, TCU this week, they play Jacksonville. This is a 4 p.m. game on Sunday. They got Arkansas Pine Bluff on Tuesday. And then they got Big 12 play early. They got K-State next Saturday, the 20th, at 4 o'clock. So it's time for TCU basketball to rise up. I'm looking at we're gonna talk about on Tuesday. We're gonna talk about Addie Crooks. Addie Crooks is this superstar that is putting up 30 plus points a game right now in college basketball. Everybody's talking about her weight. Everybody's talking about her skill, how it works in the WNBA. I want to talk about that next week because that's important when you're dealing with when you're in the Big 12 conference, especially with TCU's sake. I'm looking at Oklahoma State. I can look at Arizona. Arizona just lost to Southern. I look at BYU. BYU has a good record right now. I think BYU's 9-1. This is the Big 12 I'm talking about. I look at Baylor. I look at K-State. You're not TCU's ranked right now, but these can change. TCU has not had a bad day. TCU has had bad offenses in the first half against worthless teams, but TCU is going to face the real test in the Big 12 play. Because I honestly will say that the Big 12 is open right now. Oklahoma State wants it. BYU may want it. Arizona State may want it. Look at what Arizona State's doing. Arizona wants it. Things are happening right now to the point where TCU has to play its best every single game. No more of these worthless opponents. Take care of Jacksonville and Arizona. Not Arizona. Take care of Jacksonville and Arkansas Pine Bluff. Then get to K-State. We'll go from there. Then that would tell me that TCU is the real team. What TCU has is height. TCU has that. But I watched Oklahoma State the other day. Oklahoma State has the complete team. Physicality is what J.C. Holt loves. I didn't get a chance to watch BYU nor or Arizona State. I know Arizona State has a bunch of scrappy players. This is off their head coach, Molly Miller. Molly Miller back in the day used to be I didn't even watch her play. But if you look at Grand Canyon, she has scrappy players all over the place. I want TCU to watch out for those things and not have one bad day. Because that bad day can turn to trickle effects. Baylor's starting to come together. Everybody is gunning for TCU. They say they can finish first. TCU has a complete team. Yes, we can say that. But does TCU have the it factor? That's the question we challenge ourselves. Flau'jae Johnson and Kara Lawson. LSU beats Duke last week, 93-77. Flau'jae Johnson had 18 points and 5 rebounds. Now, Flau'jae did not like what Coach Kara Lawson did in the summer. Kara Lawson chose someone else over Flau'jae, and Flau'jae made a statement that Flau'jae is here to stay. I'm concerned for USA women's basketball in 2028. I know they're in practice today, and I know they're going to practice for the qualifiers this coming summer. This next summer, actually. But I know that we got it gunning for us. I know that it's going to be tough. I know that Angel, Caitlin Clark, Flau'jae, Leah Boston, Paige Beckers. We got to have that it factor every game. I know that these players are going to have that it factor every game. I know I'm concerned because of the lineup. I'm concerned because what can Caitlin Clark do with the Paige Beckers on her team? Both players play the same way. Both players play, not the same way, play the same position, but they're different. Paige Beckers gets her own shot. Caitlin Clark can get her own shot, but Caitlin Clark gets it at a rate where she goes 99 miles per hour, and then it's like, okay, are you gonna pass it or are you gonna shoot it? Caitlin Clark is tough. Aaliyah Boston, we're interested to see what's going on with her, but I want to see this USA team I want to see Kara Lawson do what when the big guns come in, like Asia Wilson, Nafisa Collar. You still got to add those players to the team. So I want to see what we can do in the summer. That tells me that I can trust the USA team in 2028. Because right now, with Kara Lawson on the team and watching Duke run offense, play defense, it's not looking good. But we'll see what happens. All right, you get to number 5. This is the NBA stuff. Before we talk about the NBA Cup, we had some drama last week. Chris Paul is no longer a Clipper. Okay. Now, the Clippers have their ways of doing this. The Clippers don't have that championship feel anymore. I just think they're just making it. I don't like what Jeff Van Gundy said about Chris Paul. I honestly think that Ty Lue was joking when that video came out. Chris Paul is an asset to any team. Chris Paul should not change because of this new era of players. This new era of players don't listen to accountability. They don't listen to accountability. They don't listen to accountability. The problem is that they don't listen to it. They don't listen to someone that's been there. Someone that's been there. That's worked hard. Someone that said that I'm going to work harder than anybody else. Chris Paul has done that. Chris Paul, I'm sorry that these young players, or Kawhi Leonard for that matter, doesn't understand that. Kawhi Leonard's sitting out every other game now. He's taking advantage of the low management rule. He's taking advantage of it. And it's like, it's not fair that the Clippers did this. They did this to Blake Griffin. They did this to DeAndre Jordan. They did this to other players that have been in their program. They did this to Doc Rivers. They got rid of Doc Rivers because they said Doc Rivers wasn't in it with us. They said that. So what are the Clippers good for? The Clippers are only good for themselves. This is why their record is 5-20 or whatever the record is. It doesn't even matter because it doesn't even matter. Their players, it doesn't even matter what the rule is now. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter what their record is. It doesn't matter what Jeff Van Gundy says. It doesn't matter what Steve Ballmer or Lawrence Frank says. All of them could be fired within days. Chris Paul shouldn't be endured this. Chris Paul should be on the team right now. Chris Paul should be on the team right now, and it's not fair to him that he can't get it right. It's not fair to him that the Clippers cannot get it right. It's not fair. But I'm hoping that Chris Paul does not go out like this. I want to look at Giannis. I want to look at what Giannis is going to do next week. Or moving forward. Giannis is out was an injury a month from now. Kevin Porter said it best. Kevin Porter said if the Milwaukee Bucks were winning, you don't hear of Giannis being traded. But would I be excited to have Giannis on the San Antonio Spurs? Yes. I would love to have Giannis on the San Antonio Spurs. But Chris Paul, listen, any team will have him. I look at Memphis, okay? That's a dangerous spot to go because Ja's there and Ja's nowhere near healthy. He's nowhere near focused on the game anymore. I look at Atlanta. Trae Young, overrated. I look at Detroit. Detroit's a piece away. You know? I look at playoff teams that are relevant. I look at Golden State again. I look at Minnesota. So, we'll see. Hey, if I'm the Spurs, I don't mind inviting Chris Paul back. We got something brewing now with the Spurs that if we have health on our side, we're going to win the West. We're going to win the West. Well, excuse me, we're not going to win the West, but we're going to be in the playoffs. So, you heard what Will Hardy has said. Will Hardy's talking about his team. That team is nowhere near perfect. That's the Jazz. The Jazz, he's coaching for his job. He realized that he could be on the cup. He could be out of the job soon enough. Will Hardy knows that. That's him being honest. That's him saying, I'm going to be fucked after this game, or it could be next week. It could be at any time that they can handle picks. And Will Hardy's not even 40 years old. Will Hardy's just coaching a bunch of young players that don't want to play defense. So with Chris Paul, with the Clippers, you have an obligation to either listen or you don't, or you go the same route you're going through. Even the commentators are getting into it now. That's a dysfunctional franchise at its best. I expect the Clippers to make decisions. But also the Cup games. The Spurs will play OKC. That is the game on Amazon Prime that I'm looking forward to watching. The Spurs need this win. And we just got word that Wemby is playing tomorrow. So good. It's another upgrade for him. I know that he's going to play less than 30 minutes because he just came back. So this is an upgrade for the Spurs. Wemby's going to provide you a lot. OKC's too much. OKC has won at least 16 straight games. They may never lose again after this game. OKC, I see no weakness in their game. The only thing is that they may have an off game from time to time, but they look very connected. And this is probably why they have one loss. They could easily win 75 games. Easily. But I want the Spurs to put their foot down. I want them to rebound the basketball. I want Harrison Barnes to have help this game. I want Luke Cornett to be strong, because Luke Cornett was not strong this game against the Lakers. He lacked. I want Dylan Harper. Dylan Harper's growing up. Stephon Castle's growing up. De'Aaron Fox is that leader. That's who I trust every game. The only thing in the Spurs I want the Spurs to do is to reduce the turnovers and just be smart with the possessions. Don't give up on anything. You got to fight because there's $5 million on the line. And some of those players that are in 1-year contracts and they're G League players and they're only making $3 million a year. That's extra. That's extra for them to do whatever they want. And so you got to claw and fight this game to get going. It's going to be tough. I'm not going to pick a winner for this game. I'm going to let it roll out. I want the Spurs to go out there and play a complete 48 minutes. And then the first game is the Knicks and the Magic. All these games on Amazon Prime, guys. So if you don't have Amazon Prime, I highly suggest you get it. $15 a month is all you pay. Oh, my gosh. That post-game, pre-post game show, I love it. Taylor Rooks has taken that by storm. Dirk, Udonis, Steve Nash, Blake Griffin. Oh my gosh. The broadcast, it is incredible. I will suggest you guys get Amazon Prime. $15 a month is all you pay, and all the games and all that stuff. I even have the NBA subscription because I want to keep up on the Spurs all season long, and I have. And they have other NBA games as well. So that's where my NBA knowledge comes from. and that's where my gameplay. That's where my my highly negotiables. Excuse me, not negotiables. My highly respect comes from, because I love the NBA. But anyways, you gotta keep Brunson out of his element. You gotta rim protect. Rim protection would be key. So I know Orlando does not have rim protection, but the Knicks do. And then you gotta be a scrappy team. Orlando is a scrappy team, but New York, they're a semi-scrappy team, but they know how to connect well with each other. And then 3-point shooting will be key. I know both teams lack 3-point shooting, and then the question will be who plays defense first. Now, the money's on the line. I expect a hard-nosed game tomorrow night. This is tomorrow night, 4:30 and 8 and 7 o'clock are the games. I expect the Spurs to come out. I expect the Knicks and the Magic to be a close one. We'll come back to, next week and recap not only that game, but we're going to recap. We're going to preview the NBA Cup game, which is on Tuesday in Vegas. So that's it for my show today, guys. Next week, on Tuesday, let's recap Cowboys versus Vikings. Let's recap the college football playoffs. Not college football playoffs, excuse me. Not that. We're going to recap the NFL. We're going to recap the college football press conferences. There's coaches hired. Coaches have said a lot of great things in their press conferences that, to me, could it change, or are they going to rely on what they say? And then we got games coming up. And then the one game I want to look at Addie Crooks. Let's talk about Addie Crooks next week. Let's preview her. And then let's preview the NBA Cup. But also, let's talk about the Giannis trade. But I do want to bring up the college I want to bring up my own rules as far as what college football should do, because I saw this online the other day of somebody suggesting what the college football should do moving forward. So I'm going to give you my anticipation of that, because I've been watching college football long enough to the point where I'm allowed to make my own rules, and these are suggestions that make sense to me, that should make sense to everybody out there. So I'm going to give you that next week. And also recap all of the college football press conferences, what they said, and if they're going to follow it. All right, guys. Thank you for listening and watching my episode. Subscribe to wherever you get my podcast at. It's Beyond the Game with Jamie Agenti. And I'll see y'all on Tuesday. It's Beyond the Game on Official Radio.